Everyone loves a story of grit, survival and beating the odds, and Netflix's A Society of the Snow is just that. The new film, which debuted on Netflix on Thursday, is based on doomed Flight 571, which crashed in the remote Andes Mountains on October 13, 1972. The tale is not for the faint of heart. For those not familiar with the story, Society of the Snow involves graphic depictions of the accident and what the victims had to do to keep from starving to death, including cannibalism, said Netflix about the film. Here's everything you need to know about the film from award-winning Spanish director J.A. Bayona. What they got right, fact-checking Society of the Snow plane disaster with director J.A. Bayona. Is A Society of the Snow based on a true story? Society of the Snow, which closed out the Venice Film Festival in September, is inspired by Flight 571, which was carrying a Uruguayan rugby team and their friends and family when it crashed in a remote part of the Andes Mountains in 1972, instantly killing a dozen passengers. Several others died of their injuries soon after. Search and rescue crews failed to find the plane and after 8 days, called off their efforts. They eventually had to choose between death and cannibalism. Incredibly, 2 survivors, Nando Parado and Roberto Canessa, traversed mountains and glaciers and hiked nearly 40 miles without proper gear to eventually get help. In the end, 16 of the 45 people on board survived. The new film is based on Uruguayan author and journalist Pablo Vierci's 2008 book, La Sociedad de la Nieve. While Vierci himself was not on the flight, he attended Stella Maris College in Montevideo, Uruguay, with flight survivors, who gave him first-hand accounts of their ordeal, according to Forbes. Bayona told USA Today that the filmmakers tried to be as close to what happened as possible. I remember having conversations with the other writers asking them not to alter the facts to make it more appealing to the audience and instead focus more on understanding the psychology behind what they did and show that on the screen, Bayona said. Where are the Andes Mountains? The longest mountain range in the world at about 4,500 miles, the Andes are located along the entire western coast of South America, spanning 7 countries, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile and Argentina, according to Life Science. Flight 571 crashed in a remote area on the range near the Argentine border, about 80 miles south of Santiago. The site of the crash is known as the Valley of Tears. Flight 571 survivors. More than 50 years have passed since the crash took place and all but 2 survivors are alive. Javier Methal and José Luis Bicoche Inciart died in 2015 and 2023, respectively. Canessa and Parado were actively involved in the film's production, supporting it at various media events. The film's production team had extensive conversations with the victims' families and survivors. The survivors were instrumental. Their enthusiasm fueled the film and my perspective, Bayona told Netflix. It was essential for the actors to connect with the survivors and the other families. Roberto Canessa. Canessa, who was a 19-year-old medical student at the time of the crash, according to Time, is now in his 70s and is a renowned pediatric cardiologist. Nando Parado. Parado was 22 at the time of the crash and was just a regular middle-class Uruguayan man waiting to start university, reports The Guardian. Over the years, Parado has led a successful television production company, grown his family hardware business and even raced cars. Daniel Fernandez. Fernandez has largely remained in the shadows and not much is known about him. Society of the Snowcast. Here are the actors who play the real-life rugby players. Enzo Vogrinsic Roldan as Nomatur Cati. Matias Recalta as Roberto Canessa. Agustin Pardella as Nando Parado. Tomas Wolff as Gustavo Zerbino. Diego Vegetzi as Marcelo Perez. Esteban Cucurixca as Adolfo Efido Strauch. Francisco Romero as Daniel Fernandez Strauch. Rafael Federman, The Sleepwalkers, as Eduardo Strauch. Felipe González Otaño as Carlitos Páez. Agustín de la Corte as Antonio Otintin Vicintin. Valentino Alonso as Alfredo Pancho Delgado. Simón Gemp as José Luis Coche Guinciarte. Fernando Contigiani García as Arturo Nogueira. Benjamín Segura as Rafael Gelbasco Gechavarren. Rocco Pasca as Ramón Moncho Xabella.